morning, good evening, good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. We're doing a late video tonight. Get this out. As you probably saw, USFL QB rankings came out for week 2 on USFL News Hub, and now we're pushing it down with a little bit more in-depth explanation as well. First video did pretty okay, guys, so going to keep going with this. If you're interested, XFL QB rankings will be out tomorrow, in addition to a final one next week. Without further ado, let's get into it. Starting off with our honorable mentions, I got Ryan Willis and Terry Wilson. Terry Wilson, change of pace, read option type quarterback out of Kentucky and about 5 other colleges, being used for the Gamblers. He had 1 carry, -6 yards. Ryan Willis came in, played 2 series, was originally moving the ball pretty well with Alex Collins taking the brunt of the load. Threw a nice little block, looked pretty uncomfortable out there. And then when they actually let them throw the ball, he didn't do too well. Now the Showboats did lose 42-2 to the Stallions, so obviously Brady White didn't do too well. But at this point, it's a coin toss, in my opinion, to who should be playing quarterback. I personally think it should be Cole Kelly. He looked a little bit better than Willis, but in the end, Brady White's not the guy. Regardless, those 2 guys are our honorable mention going into week 3. Coming in at number 10, it's going to be James Morgan. Previously, he was number 12. Obviously, more quarterbacks played. Morgan went 8 of 14, 54 yards, 0 touchdowns, 1 pick, 3 rushing attempts, -6 rushing yards, 2 fumbles. I don't think James Morgan is very good. However, I don't think any quarterback that plays for the Maulers right now is very good. Talked about it badly. Roland Rivers, Kyle Lauletta, and Josh Love. Love is a top quarterback in the league right now. Lauletta is a backup, probably going to play. Vadley went to Canada, came back to the Stars. He's with Bart Indris now. And, Roland Rivers is a free agent. Now, the sample size may not be too dynamic and sexy, but right now you got 2 more quarterbacks in that system because the offensive coordinator, Tomlinson, is back for his 2nd season. And what do we got going on? Morgan's shooting himself in the foot right now because, honestly, sometimes it's better that these guys play less because there's more of a what-if type thing. Morgan just got done with the Cardinals. He's been around several NFL teams. It doesn't look good right now. He's obviously not putting numbers. It's the Isaiah Henney show. But I do think moving forward that they should stay with Troy Williams, as Williams is more athletic, and then offensive line's got enough holes in it that Williams might be able to make something happen on some broken plays, which he leads into our number 9 ranking. Previously, he was 13. This week, he's 9. Went 11 of 16, 70 passing yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 2 rushing attempts, 13 rushing yards. Big thing, no turnovers, right? In this system, if you can get the ball to Isaiah Henney, kind of couple it with the running backs. Madre London had some nice spurts. Derek Kroschek was hurt. The defense isn't terrible for the Maulers. It's led by, I know we're not focusing on quarterback play, but at this point, these quarterbacks, his offense isn't making any plays, so they're putting a lot of strain on Isaiah Henney and that defense, Henney being on the special teams and whatnot. It's just kind of getting sad right now for them. Williams is their best opportunity to make something happen. I hope something, works out for him, obviously. But right now, we've seen 12 games of Pittsburgh Mauler football. It's not working out. I think a complete overhaul of that team, coaches, all that stuff is what's needed. And that's a shame because they got this dynamic duo of Ray Horton and Jaron Horton. And, I mean, at this point, the sample size is going to continue. But ironically, last year the Maulers sent, some of the most players to the NFL, so there's talent there, just kind of maybe bringing it all together. Coming in at number 8, Brady White of the Memphis Showboats. Last week he was 7. This week he goes 15 of 25, 141 passing yards, no touchdowns, a pick, 2 rushing attempts, 12 rushing touchdowns. I mean, this guy continues to struggle. The formula isn't too crazy at this point. We need to see something else from this guy, the Showboats. They have weapons. They have Derek Dillon. They got Rashad Davis, Osiris Mitchell, Vinny Papale. Daniel Helms, a decent tight end. They just did some moves on their for running backs right now. They're bringing back uh, Kareth White and Jawan Washington. I think hopefully those pieces can get something going, if not for White, for the any of these Showboats quarterbacks. But moving forward, something's got to get done because this is totally unacceptable. And Todd Haley is a better coach than this and needs to make something happen for, especially with this Memphis team being in Memphis. This is not a good look. Coming in at number 7, DeAndre Johnson. Last week I ranked him at 8. Went 9 of 13, 100 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 picks, 4 rushing attempts, 12 rushing yards. I liked what he did. They kind of got familiar again with the RPOs, to the dump offs, to the tight ends. Last year, him, Woody Bratham, and Braden Bowman all did pretty well together working, where they ran the little waggle routes and whatnot. Overall, the formula, it was good to kind of retool some things. You can do that when you play the Maulers. They played them twice this year. So it's good for the Generals to kind of get it together between him and Prue Cup. Man, I don't think this 2 quarterback system jives the way it did last year, because I think Prue Cup has a similar skill set to Johnson, to where that's kind of going to screw him over a little bit. Because the thing is last year there was obviously the drop back passer with Perez and everything like that, and you knew what you were getting into. However, Perez is a better passer out of those 3 guys. So we'll see what happens. But, the Generals got it together, got Mike Riley the win. Johnson played a clean game. So continue pushing on with that. Coming in number 6, Dakota Prue Cup. Last week he was number 6 as well. Went 4 of 8, 36 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no pick, 1 rushing attempt, 9 rushing yards. Him and Johnson were pretty interchangeable at this point. I know Johnson got a little bit more burn. But Prue Cup threw the touchdown, and he also had 2 nice passes to Cameron Eccles-Looper. Able to push the ball downfield. He's a bigger guy than Johnson. I mean, these guys are a coin flip at this point. They're kind of the same quarterback as far as their skill set. In the end, New Jersey got the win. Prue Cup looked decent. Johnson looked decent. We'll see what happens next week. Coming in number 5, Kenji Bahar. Previously, I had him at number 10. Went 18 of 30, 266 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 1 rushing attempt, 9 rushing yards. Gamblers put up 31 points against the Breakers. I don't know if that's because the Breakers' defense is bad. I don't know if, Bahar, this would be his 5th career start. He's starting to get a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if, Justin Hall and Theo Redding just decided to put it on today. They play the Showboats next week. This is a definite get-right game. Or excuse me, not Theo Redding, Anthony Ratliff-Williams. This is definitely a get-right game for Bahar. I'm really curious to see what happens with him. It looked a lot better, a little less timid, a bit more aggressive. Some errant throws, I believe his last interception was pretty abysmal from when I was watching the game. It was a little tuned out, at that point. But regardless, it was a more competitive game. I'm pretty engaged anytime the Breakers are playing, because I'm a big MBT fan. So, I got to sit down and really analyze Bahar. It looks like the chemistry is there. I'm really curious to see what happens next week. I think we might get some inflated numbers because they're playing the Showboats, but regardless, it'll be a great get-right game for Kenji. Coming in number 4, Case Cook is Philadelphia Stars. Previously, I had him ranked at 1. 29 of 44, 283 passing yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 2 rushing attempts, 12 rushing yards, 2 fumbles. He lost one of them. So, he lost both of them. After strong week, week 1 really set the league on the map. Let everyone know, like, hey, I'm the guy here. Coming back season 2. It was 1,300 passing yards, 12 touchdowns. Real nice stat line. This week, I don't think we can get too giddy about it, but he's obviously hurting. He's in pain. His sides were hurting. His lower body was hurting. He got hit in the elbow. He was favoring his pec. It did not look like a good showing. Now, the weather really jacked him up a little bit, in my opinion, and it also affected Josh Love as well. But regardless, that offensive line is not doing Case Cookus any favors. And if they continue to play like that, this man will not make it to 10 games. They will not go to the playoffs because they'll be beaten by New Jersey, because New Jersey's got a pretty good defense as far as Toby Johnson, Hercules Matafa and Shalom Lawani and Chris Orr at the linebacker spot. Excuse me. It's not going to work out for Cookus like this. The drop off between him and Vad Lee is huge. They will not go back to the championship. I know it's been it's 4 consecutive championships, make it 5. But moving forward, Cookus, both him and Love were double gripping the football as they were trying to throw because the elements of timing was off. So that was a little bit, concerning. Both his interceptions were on tip passes or him getting hit. So they were, it wasn't so much a decision and whatnot. It didn't look too good, but I think that says more about the Panthers' defense and Case Cookus as a quarterback. So coming in at number 3, I got Josh Love, 15 of 30, 174 passing yards, 1 TD, 2 picks, 2 rushing attempts, -2 rushing yards. I think his stat line doesn't show the actual credence to his game. Last week he was number 2. He put together an all week performance, all USFL performance, winning Player of the Week honors. I counted 7 drops from the Michigan receivers. Obviously, there's weather. Obviously, it's the same thing like we talked about, having issues gripping the ball. I get that, but they still won. They leaned on Reggie Corbin. Reggie Corbin was actually more involved in the pass game, and even though his yardage in the pass game wasn't so dynamic, he's catching the football. They're getting yards, positive yards. They're moving in a certain direction. Stevie Scott's still in there, and guys, these teams leave the seam open so much for these Michigan Panthers quarterbacks. And if they had issues, they just attacked seams constantly. It was too easy at this point. I could be throwing seam routes and completing it. But overall, Love did what he needed to do, pushed on. The Panthers won the game, and that's all you can ask for at this point. Coming in number 2, MBT, McLeod Bethel Thompson, 23 of 34, 261, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 picks, 2 rushing attempts, 8 rushing yards. Last week he was ranked 3. It's too easy at this point for this guy. MBT's been in the league since professional since 2011. He's played in 6 leagues, I think 13 teams and whatnot. This guy is found this good connection with Sage Surratt. Something about USFL guys who play tight end for the New Orleans Breakers, they do pretty okay in the future. Surratt's the leading receiver. He's looking amazing. On pace for over 1,000 yards. Be the most in a season for the last couple of years in spring football. It's been extremely amazing to see a guy like MBT continue to progress and push on and whatnot. I'm looking real forward to seeing what he does in the future, honestly. And this New Orleans team is continuing to progress and only got a little bit better with John DeFilippo. Wes Hills, the running back, put together a real nice game, over 100 yards, and together they're being led by one of the more dynamic and great men in this league. It's not much to say about MBT. If you're surprised he's doing this, then you haven't been paying attention. Now coming in at number 1, I'll give some people some credence, about this one being at number 1. It's Alex McGough from the Birmingham Stallions. Previously, I had him at number 4. He's 21 of 28, 301 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 6 rushing attempts, 32 rushing yards. I've been an Alex McGough supporter for a minute. I'm on record. I definitely have always said he's a top 8 quarterback in this league. I didn't realize he'd be this good. I thought his limit would have been 3 or 4. He could come back to earth at some point. It's very possible. But in the end, he's put together 2 consistent performances. We'll see what he does next week. Bo Scarborough is hurt. Marlon Williams is hurt. Jamar Smith's hurt. There's some issues on the offense or the defensive side of the ball with injuries. But in the end, McGough, athletic enough, arm is strong enough, and he's got this great connection with Jace Sternberger, in which those 2 guys are going to ride. They're going to ride that train for a while they let Myron Mitchell and Austin Watkins pick up. They made some signings today as well. Signed an offensive lineman from the University of Missouri. He's an East St. Louis kid and a wide receiver, and we'll see what happens. Stallions, if anyone's going to repeat, it's going to be them. In reality, this league seems like it's going to come between the Stallions, Breakers, and Panthers. See if the Stars or the Generals can get it together. But that's what we got going on right now. Pretty satisfied with QB play. It's kind of like these all football wars. I'm very curious, with everything going on. But in the end, it's been great to watch. It's been great to, continue. And, it's going to even get it even better going into week 3. And with the XFL season dying down, put more focus into this and, keep pumping these videos out. Guys, leave a comment in the video. A couple people have asked me about doing XFL and USFL combined. Let me know what you guys think about that. And yeah, look forward to all the feedback. Thank you guys. Have a great night.